What's going on, everybody? It's your boy KJ back in the building. It's going to be the first of many discussions we're going to have about MMA, about sports, talk a little bit about life, um, whatever you guys want. But today I really want to talk about the UFC. I want to talk about the card. I believe it was 282 that just happened on Saturday. And the first thing I want to talk about is Dana White. And I don't know about you guys, but I've been a fan of Dana White for a long time. When you take a look at, buying the UFC for $1 million, obviously, not him, but partnering with the Zuffa brothers, his idea, taking that and growing that into a multi-billion-dollar industry is just insane. But as we see a lot in life with celebrities, especially when they, start from the bottom, once they get to that top, sometimes you start to see a little bit of invincibility, dare I say. And for us regular folk, that's always a little cringy, right? Um, you know, and I don't know how who was recording this or how it came about, but when the Paddy the Baddy decision is being called, you see a video with Dana standing next to Dave from Barstool Sports. I don't want to see that, right? Optics are everything in life, and you learn this as you go throughout life. And I'm not saying that Dana has a hand in obviously what the judges decide to call the fight, but it just doesn't look good, right? And normally when Dana has his press conferences afterwards, he always does a good job, at least in my opinion, of keeping it real, right? If it's a trash ass fight, he says it. If it's an amazing fight, he says it. I love how he'll give a bonus, right? That's maybe not common. Or for example, the young man Alex Morano, right? I believe. He lost that fight, but he's still going to give him the win bonus. So like Dana, for his effort, Dana normally keeps it real like that. So for him to not come to the press conference and say that fight was trash, there's no way that it looked like he won that fight. But instead, to take the narrative to say Jared Gordon had a bad game plan was really, really unfortunate to hear that. And listen, I doubt this message will ever get to Dana White. Um, but if it does, I would encourage you to stay true, right? Stay true to people like me, the nobodies, maybe people like you that are listening, that care about the sport, that like to see the way the sport is growing, and don't have those blinders on. The trash ass fight. He didn't do shit in that whole fucking fight. His technique was trash. Uh, everything about it was trash. Um, Shout out to Jared Gordon. Tough fight. I mean, you can say that there is some credence to, he should have been more aggressive in that third round, but you can't fault the guy for his performance, feeling like what he did in the first two rounds, had more shots, was always pushing the pace, to feel like he just wanted to coast and not get Kamaru Usman or Izzy in that third round. So yeah, that's my message to Dana White. Right? Is stay true, stay the person that you love. It always makes me think about maybe your favorite musical artist that you might have. Me, I'm a rap fan, and the artist's first or second project is always the best, right? Then when they start reaching these levels, it's like, man, it just doesn't have that same it that it used to have. So listen, nobody's perfect. I'm certainly not, but pretty disappointed from Dana White this weekend. Next thing that we want to talk about is Paddy the Baddy, obviously. This is somebody, kind of has a baby face. So I thought he was like 24, and then found out he's 28, right? And so why am I mentioning that? Well, it's a big difference mindset wise from when you're in your early to mid 20s to your late 20s, right? Damn near pushing 30. For him to handle that situation with Ariel, who I'm a big fan of, I'm gonna let you know. But I was a big fan of Paddy when he was coming in. And the way that he handled that whole situation, he could have easily just said, "Hey, you know what? That wasn't the way I remembered it." Ariel, obviously, he pulled up some receipts. Maybe we see things differently, but hey, all the respect for Ariel. I'm just not interested in never coming on his platform again, based on how things have went, and leave it at that. But instead, you resort to trying to double down on lies. And you can't do that to somebody that's a good listener, somebody that's astute to the craft, like Ariel is, right? He torched you. And, it's hard for me to believe that Paddy went into that fight and Ariel wasn't in the back of his mind, right? Like it's hard for me to believe, especially when you see after the win, he first thing he mentions was Joe Rogan. Shouldn't you be paying me for this interview, right? And then on top of that, then he starts saying about, hey, put your hands up, or start clapping for fight of the night. I mean, lad, what are you smoking? It was just crazy, man. It was probably uh, one of the lower moments in his career as far as when you see a fighter that is on the uptrend like that and how well they're doing in the public eye. For that to shift that quick and fall down as much as it did, I don't know if I've ever seen that before that quickly. And maybe the result of that was him feeling that, right? I think the path to get through this is to get on with Ariel, or make amends. I also am a big fan of DJ Academic. Shout out Act. And one of the things that he always talks about on his platform, because he covers music, is when artists try to get into like a scuffle with them verbally, you're never gonna win against the media, right? And so I would share that same message to Paddy. You're not gonna win this battle, brother. I know you have a lot of clout. I know you got a lot of entities behind you. You're not gonna win, man. In the court of public opinion, my man, you are guilty as charged. So I don't know, man. I really did. I really liked Paddy before this. Can't say that I do now. It'll be interesting to see who number one. It'll be interesting to see who they match him up with, right? But then it'll also be interesting to see how he performs, because when you take a look at all of his, what is it, 4 fights now? I don't think that there was ever a fight that I was like, damn, that boy's better watch out. I didn't see that, right? And that's what you love about the UFC, right? It's like you get to really see somebody make their bones, and really get to see if they're cut from that cloth. And I don't know. I don't know. It's kind of up for discussion, right? That's why we're talking about it. The next thing that I want to talk about is Jamahal Hill. He just had an interview today with Ariel Helwani. I want to send my condolences as he communicated, or as they were speaking, that he just went through a few losses in his family. And how do you not love a guy like that? How do you not root for a guy like that? Matter of fact, I think Paddy should go take a look at Jamahal, right? That is the definition of authenticity, right? This is the definition of a guy who's not doing this for the clicks and for the likes and for the paycheck. He's doing this because, in his words, and this should hit me. This should hit me. He said his biggest fear in life was dying and never seeing if he was going to live up to his potential. And now that he has the opportunity to fight for a title, um, he's not going to have to. That fear is no more. And I'm rooting for him, man. I'm rooting for him. I'd love to know who you guys think is going to win that fight. I just don't see Glover having a path to victory outside of submission, right? Like, we all know what happened with Jamahal Hill and his shoulder with Paul Craig. You got to think that that's probably the biggest concern that he has on his mind as he goes throughout the camp. I mean, when you're talking about the stand up, Jamahal Hill is, in my opinion, just is levels above Glover. Even power, Glover does have some power in his hands, but Jamahal, I mean, you saw what he did to what's my man with the mohawk, right? You saw what he did to his face, the slow motion, all that. It's gonna be tough, man. So, but it is gonna be in Brazil. You know, Glover is a smart fighter, right? He doesn't have much time, if any, left, and so you have to know that he's probably going to go into this fight well prepared with a sound strategy, and he has all of Brazil behind his back. So that's a fight I'm really looking forward to. I'm really excited to see that. Shout out to Glover. Shout out to Jamahal. You guys know who I'm rooting for. And that's it, man. So we're going to start having these conversations quite often. So if this is your first time checking a video out, I want to say thank you to you, because this is the first video we ever put out. So Yeah, I just want to thank you. Hope we can continue to have these discussions. I'd love to hear you guys' input. You guys can reach me at the links below, and we'll talk to you guys next time. All right, man. I'm out.